Retro.
Hello there. This is James Arnold Taylor, the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and you're listening to Dennis and Jay on Podcast Stardust. Their behavior is continuously unexpected. So uncivilized.
Welcome to Podcast Stardust. This is the fully armed and operational podcast dedicated to Star Wars news, reviews, and discussion. I'm Dennis Keithley.
And I'm Jay Krebs.
And we're going to do a brief look at some Star Wars news to get this week started. But before we dive into the latest from the galaxy far, far away, Jay, what's going on with our social media contacts?
All right. Well, you can always find us very conveniently on Facebook and Instagram at Podcast Stardust.
All right, the Dish is aligned, the signal's boosted to maximum output, the shield is down, and we are now broadcasting to the galaxy. So, yeah, this is going to be the first news episode we've done in over a month. That's mainly because there just wasn't a whole lot of breaking news in December, and we had a lot of year-end stuff that we needed to get done before we said goodbye to 2024 and welcome 2025. And so, yeah, we're going to catch up a little bit, and there still isn't a whole lot out there. So this will likely not be one of our longest episodes, but let's kick things off with the reveal of some additional Star Wars Celebration badges. Now, we previously got a look at the first 5, and as a reminder, Takumi is the creator of these, and they are done in a ukiyo-e style, which was a Japanese art form that was present from the 17th to 19th centuries. And I guess the best way to describe it, Jay, is it's kind of that style you'll see. It's used quite a bit where it looks like samurai and such, or you'll get royal figures from Japanese former feudal culture. I'm trying to speak generally because I don't know it all that really well. Mm-hmm. But, we see a lot of that samurai Star Wars type mashup these days, but they're carrying that through with this art style. And so the previous 5 badges were Ahsoka, Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, Yoda, and then there was one with Mandalorian and Grogu. And they're all simply fantastic. This time we got the badges revealed were R2 and 3PO, Queen Amidala, Sabine Wren, and Asajj Ventress. What'd you think of the new additions to the collection?
Oh, these are absolutely gorgeous, and your description is very well done. I mean, it's the old like parchment paper type or silk painting, sort of aesthetic, and just the inspiration of not only the Star Wars characters themselves, but just the naturalism of the things that are incorporated into these is just top notch. I mean, you've got things like, the symbolism of the fishes going up the stream in Padme's fan, for example, which is also very, very, Japanese tradition, which makes sense because, I mean, a lot of Padme's costumes in Star Wars are inspired by traditional Asian clothing, the Japanese parasols, all of those kinds of things, Chinese nobility, whatnot too. So just seeing this in that samurai style is just absolutely gorgeous. And, it was hard for me to pick out a favorite, but I have to say probably that Padme Amidala one. And then also the Asajj as well is just absolutely incredible with the flames coming off of her 2 lightsabers. And then she's got a very traditional looking inspiration to her, costume that we normally see her in with all the stitching and the leather and just the braiding. And it's just the detail that went into these. I want every one of them on my wall.
Yeah, I know.
Quite honestly, it's just, they're so gorgeous.
Yeah, I like Asajj Ventress, the badge art for that one, because it seems like a nice counterpoint to the Ahsoka Tano, where it's kind of that Kensai sword saint imagery they got going on compared to, Darth Vader or Sabine, which is very much the samurai armor. And, their helmets look like they are just, a traditional samurai helmet with a mask. added to the front of it. Or, in some cases, some of the samurais did have that face plate on their armor as well. Yeah, for me, the top two of this collection, I really like the Sabine print and then the Asajj as well. Nothing against R2 and 3PO. They just don't stand out as much to me. And I think part of the reason for that is that we've got to see in visions, droids kind of an anime style that were set in the past. And so we've seen a little bit of that already. And they almost look a bit more steampunk to me than they do
Yes.
Japanese traditional art style.
Yes, and you again, as usual, we're on the same wavelength. But I was getting a very steampunk vibe from that as well. And 3PO, I will say his facial features are, gosh, I hesitate to use the word creepy, but there's just something about the jawline in that
Yeah.
that just doesn't look natural. You know what I mean? Like as far as natural as a droid can be, but still beautiful. And you have I believe that's Mount Fiji in the background
hmm
on that one. And I
Yeah.
love the way that the little petals are falling off of the tree and they're all little hearts. So, they're all in that little shape. So that's a very nice little touch. So the artwork in and of itself, just the detail that has been put into each one of these, truly is a work of art. And so that's something that for collectors, I think is just going to be top notch for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. With 3PO's face, it looks like it's almost more of a skull
Yes,
than,
thank you.
yeah, yeah, than it is just a kind of a faceplate type of thing that we're used to with 3PO here, where it's because there's a line that goes from his mouth to the back of again, where that skull hinge would be. And you could almost see that opening if you wanted to talk. So
Sure.
it's definitely an interesting take. And if that's what we had all along, we wouldn't think of anything of it. But
Right.
he's much friendlier looking these days with the way he's appeared on film. So
Yes. Yes.
yeah,
And he
yeah.
also
But
looks like he's
these are all
wearing
good.
earrings.
Actually, yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Because on the traditional model for our 3PO, there is that little disc that sit there at the back of his head.
Mhm.
But the way it is here, with that kind of ridge that goes to the top of his head being more pronounced, it almost looks like he has ears and earrings. You're right. I
Mhm.
had now that you say that, I can't unsee it. So
Sorry.
it's all right. So yeah, we can probably talk about this badge art for quite a bit longer, but I encourage everyone to head over to starwars.com. You can find it under the news section right now. It's easy to find, and they've got these 4 badges they just dropped, and then they've got the previous 5 that they revealed. So makes it sound like there's some additional ones to come. I can't wait to see them.
Yeah, indeed.
So all right. Well, just as a reminder, Celebration is going to happen from April 18th to 20th in Tokyo, Japan. So I hope you have your tickets because they are starting to sell out. And other Celebration news, the kids' tickets for Saturday and Sunday are now sold out. So if you want your kiddo to go, the only day that they've got available tickets is for Friday. So I'm assuming they'll be available on the Lightspeed lane. They've done that every year. I don't know if I'm assuming they'll do that, but it's Japan, so maybe not. But anyway,
Yeah, because that would be pretty difficult, for parents that want to take their children that have passes already for Saturday and Sunday. But,
yeah.
again, we can
I'm
always
hoping you
make.
already got your kids' passes if you're taking
Yeah,
them
no
with you.
doubt.
So,
You would think you would buy them all at the same time, but I guess you never know.
if not, you're taking turns babysitting them while
Yeah,
your
there you
partner goes to
go.
the show. So,
Japanese
okay.
McDonald's, here we come.
Yeah. So we talked about this beginning of last year, the year before. I can't remember when the HASLAB Ghost project first came out. Was and it was set for funding, but of course it did fund and it hit its stretch goals, and they've started delivering those to the people who backed the project. I did not. I don't have any place for that and wasn't willing to pay for what they wanted for it. But I've seen a whole lot of people unboxing this thing on Instagram. Have you seen anyone's coverage of opening this thing up, Jay?
No, I have not. I need to find it though.
Oh yeah, it's not particularly hard. Gray Cass, our friend, I know he's got one, and was posting pictures of it on Ion Cannon on Instagram. So make sure you check it out. This thing is beautiful. I mean, it looked great when they had it up on HasLab, but seeing it in people's living rooms or amongst their collections has been just really, really fun. And seeing the artwork on the figures, because I know it was coming with a Hera, and then they had a few of the others that they were including as stretch goals as well, and then they made the
Right.
last two available for purchase with the collection if you wanted it. I think that's the way it went. I don't remember
Yeah, there
exactly
was
since I
3
didn't back it.
unlocks. Mhm.
Right.
No, there was 3 unlocks. There was the Ezra or the well, it originally came with Hera, but then there was an Ezra, a Kanan, and then I wanna say a Zeb too, and they all came
Yeah.
with, like, different, accessories, I guess you could call them.
Well, I
You
think what
know?
the thing everyone wanted, it was they wanted those figures because they were carded on the Rebels artwork from the mural that
Yes.
Sabine did, and that was one of the big
Uh-huh.
things everybody wanted was that collection of those characters with that artwork on the card.
Mhm.
So looks like they got their wish. But anyway,
That's awesome.
without having it seen it in person, there's only so much I can say about it. But I've never backed one of these HasLab projects simply because it really just isn't going to work in my collection. I don't have any place for it. But I love following these things
Oh,
and
for
seeing
sure.
seeing the entire process, and then it's really fun once they end up in people's hands, seeing what they do with it. I remember the Razor Crest, watching people like take that out, and then like something I've seen people weather them to make it look a bit more realistic and do stuff
Well,
like
that's
that.
cool.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I remember when Jabba's sail barge was such a huge deal, and that was like the first one of those things that we had.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I love the HasLab stuff, but like number one, I'm very happy for other people when they get it, but it's just not something that's on my radar in terms of, financial or space, kind of a thing. But I mean, everybody's got their collections and everybody's
Mhm.
got their priorities, and I definitely love living vicariously through others that do these kinds of things. How big was this ship? Do you remember how big it was?
Let's see.
I'm
I
just
know I've seen a
curious.
lot of um, comments that it was a lot bigger than people were anticipating.
Oh, really?
Um, yeah, well, I mean, it's they always tell you the dimensions, but it's kind of
Well,
hard
it's
to.
hard, yeah,
Yeah,
until you really get it in
it's
hand.
28 inches by 34 inches and 13 inches tall.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty big.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so over
34
2
inches in
feet
length,
by
that's almost
nearly
3
3
feet.
feet. Yeah,
Yes. Wow.
yeah, so
Very cool,
enormous.
though.
But that's always been the thing with those in the past with the vehicles and stuff like that, is that they were never really to the appropriate scale. And they couldn't
Mhm.
be because if they were designing these things to be toys for kids to play with, well, what kid can carry around a 3-foot ship?
Mhm.
you
Yeah,
know,
it's true.
it's, it's not going to work. So,
Oh my
um,
gosh. So
yeah,
is this like I mean, as far as the action figures are concerned, I'm assuming that they're 3 3/4 inch action figures, but are they to scale to the size of the action figure? So is that
yes.
where that is so cool. I mean, just
Hmm.
to think about how big the ship actually is, you don't really think about how big it is when you see it on screen and then to see, the members of the ghost crew in it, but then wow, yeah, that's awesome. Very happy for those that got it. I'm definitely gonna have to check out those Instagram posts and reels because that's super cool.
Yeah. I went to the HasLab page for this just to get our facts straight on this.
Mhm.
And the ghost, if it was funded, the ghost came with Hera. And then the first stretch goal was 11,000 backers, and that included Ezra. And
Mhm.
then 14,000, the stretch goal for that was Kanan. 17,000 was Zeb. The
Okay,
only
so it
ones
was
that
them.
they didn't include were uh, Chopper and Sabine. And if my memory serves, the reason why is because we had just had new vintage series action figures for those characters from Ahsoka.
Okay.
But I think they went ahead and designed those two and put them on that again on that same card back so that people could have the complete set if they wanted. And I've seen lots of
Okay.
people who have opened up the Ghost and then like put all the characters in the cockpit or at the various cannons and stuff. It's got a Phantom on the back of it. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, yeah,
That's cool.
indeed, indeed. All right, so I hope everyone who got that is enjoying it, and put more pictures online. Those are fun to look
Yes,
at.
please. Yes, please.
Not to show end the show on a down note, but we did find out that right before Christmas, Angus MacInnes, the actor who portrayed Dutch Vander, or John Dutch Vander, I should say, and also known as Gold Leader from A New Hope, passed away at the age of 77. And apparently it was peaceful at home, was surrounded by family. He was another one of those characters that had a very small part in A New Hope, but ended up becoming a fan favorite. He ended
Yeah.
up at quite a few different conventions. I never got to meet him. Did you, by any chance?
No, I did not.
But yeah, I mean, I like from all reports, is a very friendly guy and was always fun to see at conventions when he made it out. I want to say he was at one of the Star Wars celebrations I went to, but I can't remember which one. But you'll have to think about that more. But yeah, it's unfortunately lost him. But again, with this movie coming up on 50 years and just a couple 2 years from now, yeah, we're starting to lose. Well, not starting. We've been losing a lot of the actors associated with it, and Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill in 70s and 80s respectively. There,
Right.
so we've only got so much time left with these actors. So we just a general reminder that we put out there every time this happens is that you know don't take it for granted they're going to make it to the next convention you want to go to. If you get an opportunity to see them and you want to meet them, make sure you do it and thank them for their contribution to Star Wars.
Absolutely, because, I think we oftentimes forget that, Star Wars is forever and it's suspended in this, time frame of never aging, but unfortunately the people in it do in fact age. And that's just unfortunate that he passed right before Christmas, but it's also reminding us too that Carrie Fisher's anniversary of her passing was on the 27th of
Yep.
December as well. So I was seeing a lot of tributes and things going up for that, and it's still just absolutely floors me that she was only 60 when she passed away. I keep seeing that and
Hmm.
I thought, oh my gosh, like I'm I'm turning the corner to that right now, not to make light of it, but it's like, oh my gosh, we're getting up there with some of these celebrities. And but you're absolutely right. Yeah, take advantage of every opportunity you can because you just never know.
Indeed, indeed. Lost James Earl Jones just a few weeks ago, and the voice of Darth Vader, and now this, and you know, so yeah, don't take it for granted.
Right.
But, thanks to him for all his contributions to Star Wars, and our condolences go out to his family and fans and friends. And yeah, I hate to end the episode there, but that's where we are. So, with that, just want to thank you all for joining us for the first news episode of Podcast Stardust for 2025. This has been fun to kind of catch up on some recent stuff and look forward to Celebration. We
Yeah.
hope you've enjoyed the discussion. And if you want to get our weekly takes on Star Wars news, then make sure you've subscribed to the podcast if you haven't done so already. We're available pretty much on all the podcatchers, and you know how to do that. You're listening to podcasts now, you're probably a veteran. Don't forget to rate, like, and review the podcast wherever it is that you listen, if your podcatcher supports such things. And then if you want to find other shows in our back catalog, we've got 830 episodes prior to this one, head over to retrozap.com, where you can find all of those, as well as all the other shows on the network, such as Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Case Files, Animaniacast, Brews and Blasters, Dork Lair, Doomcast, Enjoy Stuff, Love, Death, and Robots Plus, Superhero Suite, and Warp Trails. Jay, you want to remind everybody what those social media contacts are one more time, and where else we can be found on the internet?
Absolutely. It's very easy to find us. We are on Facebook and Instagram at Podcast Stardust. And as Dennis was running down, we are literally everywhere. So we're also on Spotify. We are on Audible. We have our two YouTube outlets. So we're on the traditional YouTube, no video, but we're there, as well as YouTube Music. And those actually do also support the subscription as well as the interaction for reviews and such as well. So please head over to those, and that really does help to boost our signal. And then we also have some Pinterest boards that you can check out as well. And then if you want to connect with us in real time, we do have a Discord room on the RetroZap Discord server, and that is also home to all of the other shows that have Discord rooms as well. So once you hit up the link in our show notes, it'll zoom you right to where you need to go, just like hyperspace. And then our last link that you'll find in our show notes as well is the link to our TeePublic store, where you can find one of 7 different show logo designs available on all kinds of gear, from sweatshirts and t-shirts to coffee mugs and home gear and pretty much everything in between. And every purchase does help to support the show, and we'd love to see it. So thanks in advance.
Jay, remind everybody what you got going on cosplay before we leave.
Sure. So as always, going into 2025, you can catch me on my Instagram, which is at j.snipscosplay. Already rounding up some dates for things like Fan Expo Cleveland in March. And once again, just recalling a lot of the fun things happening in 2024, and then just looking forward to a lot of things in 2025. Do have some plans for some collaborations as well as some new cosplays. So in addition to Ahsoka, Hera, speaking of Hera, 2 different versions, the Fourth Sister and my original concept Mandalorian, you will be seeing some new things added to my cosplay library. So once again, that's at j.snipscosplay.
Okay, upcoming on the show on Wednesday, we are doing our 2025 Star Wars content preview. So make sure you join us for that. And then on Friday, we will be getting into episode 7 of Skeleton Crew. So thanks for listening to episode 831 of Podcast Stardust. Have a great week. And until next time, may the Force be with you.